Hey there, guys. So we are going into fall, and I wanted to share a few things with you. We actually harvested our very first sweet potato. We did that. They're not quite ready yet. I mean, they're ready, but we're going to let them continue until the leaves and the vines start turning yellowish. But I did come harvest one from right there because our granddaughter was here, and I thought she might like to try. She's 8 months old, and I thought she might like to try one of Grandma's sweet potatoes. And so I did harvest one. Now, if you've been following, you know that I've grown zucchini in this area. It did well in the spring. And then just throughout summer was annihilated with squash bugs. So we did get to reap the benefits in spring, but unfortunately it just literally decimated the whole entire crop. And then here were potatoes, and I've harvested this area right here. Let me back you up a little bit. So I've harvested this area right here. As you can see right here, it looks as though I have, but I haven't. This guy has. This guy has thought that it was a good idea to harvest and eat some potatoes. So there's still potatoes underneath here, but I'll be probably picking those momentarily. And then starting right here down was the rest of our potatoes that we grew. We grew some russets and some reds and some Yukon Golds, I believe. Anyway, we already harvested those, and they're in the freezer and the freeze dryer. And I went ahead and did a second crop. So potatoes from here to here, and then right here and growing everywhere are Lady Godiva pumpkins. Now those are the pumpkins that you harvest pepitas from. So they are not the pie making. Well, I don't know, you might be able to still make pie out of them, but these are specific to pepita seeds. They are green, they don't have the white shell on them, and they are super healthy for you. And so I tried to get some of these to grow in the spring in the greenhouse, or at least to sprout, and get them started ahead of the game, and they turned to mush. I don't quite know what the problem was. I tried it a second time, same thing happened. And so I was discouraged, and I was out of seeds to try to start. So I ordered some more for next year. Well, they arrived in late July, and I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try a completely different route than I have. I've done this in the past, just not for these pumpkin seeds. So I went ahead and got a couple paper towels, folded them over into a rectangle that would fit into a, I'm kind of headed over to the shade. So I went ahead and put them in between moist paper towels, folded the paper towel up, put it into a Ziploc bag, and put the seeds in between the moist paper towel, and left them there for about 4-5 days. And I checked on them, and sure enough, they had sprouted for me. So that is the way we will go in the future with our Lady Godiva pumpkins. And these are them. And check this out. I have, now mind you, these weren't planted until the beginning of August. And I've got pumpkins. Let's see, I know there's another right there. There's that one. There's this big one here. I don't know if there's any more over on this side, but there's one right over there. So in my book, this was an absolute win. We will let these continue to grow and mature and get bigger. And I will save some of the seeds for next year, but then I will also roast and actually keep some raw. I absolutely love pepitas. One of my favorite ways to have them is on top of our strawberries, sliced up strawberries with a little bit of cream, a little tiny bit of added monk fruit, and the pepitas on top. Love that. So, okay, coming back down here to where the zucchini were. And at the same time that I started those Lady Godivas at the beginning of August, I also started new zucchini. My goal with the new zucchini was to get it out of where the squash bugs were and see if we could get a fall crop. And wouldn't you know it, I've got zucchini. So I've been keeping an eye on these. Hey, leave the strawberries alone. Those are Mom's, not yours. Okay? You hear me? No. So as you can see, I mean, I've just got zucchini everywhere. I mean, that we can see right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, there's going to be a good amount. And underneath these, fun enough, is spinach. There are peas. There are, where are they? There we go. Radishes. And those are all seeds that didn't germinate from spring. This entire bed was filled with beets, carrots, peas, radishes, spinach, and peas were along the back row. Once everything was, oh, and lettuce was at the front. And once everything was done, I kind of raked it in. I added some, as you can see, some pine shavings and rabbit poop, and kind of disturbed it up here a little bit before I actually ended up planting the zucchini. So another plus. I've got seeds that didn't germinate the first time that are germinating this time, and we've been having nice salads from that. And we are leaving our carrots until our first frost. Now, I don't know if you know much about that. I haven't done that in the past, but this year I'm doing things a little differently. When it gets cold, it sends the message to the carrots to put all of the energy out of the greens and put it right back down into the carrots. And it apparently is supposed to make the carrots a bit sweeter. And so we are going with that. And the greatest thing about that is, look, I'm starting to get seed pods from the carrots going to seed. That was one thing I did not do last year, is I did not collect seeds from my carrots. So that will definitely be done this year. Now, since I'm already covered a good portion of things, I'm just going to keep going. And I'll just take you guys around. And as you can see, we have a mess here from Jess, who, you know, was eating potatoes. I've got some runner strawberries that have come out of the bed again like last year. So this mess right here is exactly that. It is a mess. After the real wet winter that we had so many grass and weed seeds show up here from the wind and the rain and all of the precipitation we had, and it just has taken over our loofah beds this year. Don't know what happened with our loofah this year. I truly don't. Usually this entire thing is just so thick. If you go back and look, you'll see previous videos on my loofah in the last couple years. And this year was I'm not going to call it a complete loss, as I'll take you in and show you, but none, even though they began to come up, none of the loofah from this side has thrived at all. And what we have here, this big leafy green stuff, is celery. So I'll be picking that pretty soon and putting that up. I'll be freeze drying a bunch of it again. But let's go ahead and go inside of the loofah arch and show you what we have this year. So that will definitely be a harvestable loofah. This one here will be a harvestable loofah. This one here will be a harvestable loofah. And we'll have to wait and see on the others. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of small ones, but I don't know that they'll be able to get to a harvestable size. So although it wasn't a complete bust, I got 120 loofah last year. So it's kind of sad to see, but that's how loofah goes. It has a mind of its own. It grows when it wants. So, you know, if you've been wondering how come I haven't talked about my loofah this year, I have a little bit, but not a whole heck of a lot, because it just really hasn't done much of anything for us. All right, so let's go around this way. We had some chamomile come up here from seeds from last year, which was awesome. So they were freebies. And then I also had started some from seed, and they've done well. This is our Chileno bed. Of course, it always does wonderfully. Although I would like to see them get a little bit bushier. I changed the location of them this year, and I wasn't thinking about that when I did it. Although these get plenty enough sun to provide abundance of peppers. This right here and that right there, when the sun gets over that direction, these are pretty much completely in shade at that time. Luckily enough, these get at least 6 to 8 hours from morning sun until early afternoon. So we're good with that. This was our I am backed up. This is turned into a mess now, but this was our onion bed. And as you can see, it's been kind of taken over with weeds and things that weren't quite growing here before. I had a volunteer tomato come up. I've got volunteer tomatillos. And I did plant that Chileno over there, but it was so overcome with all of the onions that it just wasn't getting enough sun to do much of anything. But this whole bed was harvested of all the onions, and just other things have decided to grow in its place. So again, we call that a bonus garden. So you can see the size of these cherry tomatoes, and I gotta get out here and pick these today. And then check this out. So these orange ugly fruit that are on here are my national pickling cucumbers, and they started out okay until the squash bugs came, and it got so bad I just could not keep up. But again, seeds. I did not plant this basil here. This is lemon basil, and I have no idea. Wind is the only thing that I can tell you. The only lemon basil that I planted was way up that direction. So we have a whole bunch of basil, and this will be actually getting some of it harvested, and some of it will just get pulled and given to the the chickens. Although the rabbits, I'm sure, will absolutely love it as well. Now, upcoming video I'll be doing is on my raspberry bed that I'm aimed at right now. So stay tuned for that. I did get to, as you can see, I've stripped the leaves off of here and a few more. And those are now saved for raspberry leaf tea. Here we have our big cherry tomatoes, which I believe this is kind of where that came from. And then, again, I wasn't really thinking on where I put this, because I should have put the tomato plant over that way and these peppers over this way. That way the tomato wasn't blocking the sun. But, well, we learn our lessons the hard way sometimes. And that's good, because I get to share it with you. So some more cucumbers that got destroyed. Then we got some more celery right here. Then we have our Kentucky pole beans, which did really good. I harvested and I've done, I don't know, well, I did 4 yesterday, and I've done a couple more to can for the winter. And again, more cucumbers that did okay in the spring. Those ones did not really do much of anything. And then here is our bed that had our garlic in it, that now has our beets in it. Now, you may take a look and go, oh my gosh, why did she let her weeds get so bad? Well, these weeds, if you've been paying attention, everything here has a purpose. And these weeds afford me to save quite a bit of money on chicken feed. I weed this area occasionally and throw it into the chicken pens, and they really help cut down on costs. And then whatever's left of them gets thrown at the bottom of compost piles and heated up. That then becomes our soil. All right, so we don't worry too much about weeds, except when it comes time to grow again in the spring. So we will let the chickens out at some point to take care of a bunch of it once we don't have anything growing. So I tried to grow some national pickling cucumbers before the end of the year, and they just have not done a whole heck of a lot. Not like the pumpkin and the zucchini has. But look at my kale here. Just been picking off of it all year long. And it just sends me up new fun shoots. Or new leaves. And then I harvest the big ones and let it keep going. So here are my boysenberries. And the peppermint and mint that kind of got out of control. And yes, I'm going to probably hate life for that. But our plan here is to have weed barrier cloth in this section right here next year, and probably pea gravel, and then boysenberries that I transplanted from this guy. I transplanted into here, and we'll continue to grow them down a good section of the way. Huh, buddy? Whoops, sorry. All right, let's take a look this way. Well, there's a little bit of stuff in between here. This is where I had tried to grow some stuff that got annihilated by the squash bugs. All of our sweet meat winter squash, our spaghetti squash. We did get a couple spaghetti squash before it happened. Butternut were ruined. This is my chocolate mint, and it's hardy as can be. And then I have my eggplant here. There's one that's ready. So I'll probably, oh no, not quite. But I'll probably harvest those soon. Okay, so let's go over this direction. Our fruit trees did amazing this year, although our apple tree and peach tree are still pretty small. We still got fruit from them this year. I got a lot of aronia berries. Our nectarine did amazing. Our comfrey's been providing for us wonderfully. And of course, the amaranth is just wild and crazy. After growing it 1 year, it comes up everywhere. And my basil, cilantro, which is now, it will be harvested for the spice now, coriander. If you did not know that, here's our herb bed. I've got some sweet snacking peppers here, our blueberries, some chard, random decorative pumpkin that I've never grown that showed up. Some of our medicinal stuff in pots here. We've got some calendula, some marjoram, some anise hyssop, some thyme, some plantain, some echinacea, mullein, our lavender and cosmos, and our clary sage has been eaten by this is its first year, but it's been eaten by the grasshoppers. Our lavender that's beautiful but overgrown, I gotta get it cut back. And then some of our Hesperaloe parviflora, more plantain, and our comfrey starts. And then here are our pineapples that we started a couple years ago. Some stevia, lemon balm, and then all of our asparagus that's overgrown, more asparagus. And that's where, over in that dead area right there, is where we had crookneck squash that created a whole bunch of squash bugs that then completely annihilated my watermelon patch. Our tomatoes, oh my gosh, these stupid tomato cages are worthless. And my tomatoes got so ginormous because I did not prune them that they're about crazy right now too. But it doesn't mean that they're not producing. You just got to pick everything up and get underneath it all. And our sunflowers, we're not quite sure what happened, but our, oh, there's more celery up there too behind where the squash was. But the watering system stopped working up there, and I'm not sure for how long, but it killed the sunflowers. And here again is what I'm talking about the grasses that came into this area that don't belong here. Have no idea how that happened, but obviously wind and rains. So that is the update on the garden this fall. And we have a lot of harvesting to still get done. So without further ado, I'm signing off, and we'll see you on the next video.